From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. A lot of breaking news in this afternoon's recording. We'll go over the latest as a potential deal is happening. It could happen in less than 48 hours to 7 days. What's going on? I have the latest details breaking on Afternoons. Then, a LA Told You So. A new poll reveals that less than 10% of Americans even know a recon exists. And now the Democrats are trying to fight back to tell the American about this recon and what's in there. Then, The Price is Right. A $1.7 to $2 trillion recon is what's at issue now. And this is good news for you because all the programs in there are generally for you staying in there. I'll explain which ones are coming out in a second. But the programs will run for a shorter duration. Meantime, which programs are coming out? Climate and college have now been cut. Yes, you will not be able to take LALATE 101, so you'll never know what the word I'm saying. Meantime, we'll go back to student loan debts, as more debts could be forgiven this week. COLA raises coming in, but you'll be getting 2 more raises after that. And then we have the incredible details as this channel approaches its 1.5-year anniversary this weekend. 140 million views. We'll go back over what the last year and a half tells us going forward. Meantime, we'll be turning back to this incredible recon that passed. It'll pay viewers on this channel upwards of $15,000. Plus the number 1 pass, hazard pay, and multiple provisions being added in there. Then a proposal to add in an additional $25,000. Then home repairs being added in. And then the items across the board for the third cluster being passed, and those include money for seniors and also for workers. Then we have all the details of what's coming up after that, of course, the MSC. We'll have all those incredible details and more as we go into a big afternoon LA because it's a big day, and it starts right now, right here, as Afternoons LA gets underway direct from Santa Monica. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And boy, we have a jam-packed show today. There is a lot going on, and you can see how I'm sort of trying to struggle through all the breaking news. There's a lot happening. With first a deal happening that could give you a recon formulated in the next 2 days to 4 to 7 days. Then, LALATE Told You So. I've been telling you about what's in this recon for no less than 6 months, but Americans have no idea that a recon even exists. Less than 10% of Americans know a recon exists or what's in there. And now the Democrats are pushing back. All the latest details on that. The Price is Right. The recon will fall in somewhere between $1.7 and $2 trillion deal. Progressives are pushing back, and yet 2 programs are coming out. Climate and college being cut across the board. This recon is absolutely deliciousness. It'll pay viewers on this channel about $15,000 across the board. Plus, an add-on is being proposed on top of that for $25,000 for homes, and then $250 billion on top of that for seniors. Can they get those items in? I have the latest details in this recording. And then, of course, the MSC being proposed to be added in there on top of that. There's 3 clusters of checks that have been passed, 1, 2, and 3. We'll go over all those 3 clusters in this recording and more. It's a big day with a lot going on, and the details are hitting by the hour. Here's your third cluster. And with that, I'm so excited for you to have joined me, and this is a major recording of LA. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. There's a lot going on today, and there's a lot of breaking news. You can see that everything is really quite different today than even the day before, so you cannot miss a single recording across the board today. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Let's go right into this incredible recon. A $3.5 trillion recon passed 2 weeks ago in a House subcommittee. that recon pays viewers on this channel about $15,000. The recon will no longer be $3.5 trillion, but the programs, with the exception of two that are being cut, will still be in there. Let's go over this incredible recon that is likely to come smaller and what it means for you. These recon is going to pay you on average about $15,000 as a viewer of this channel. It's incredible sums of money. And that recon is deliciousness. It has money for all types of people, single individuals, married couples, people with children, people without children. This is all money for you. And it's important to remember that this recon starts right here, right now. And let's start with the incredible details of that $15,000 the recon will give you. Let's go right into the first cluster of checks and let's see which one survived the negotiations of yesterday. Cluster number one has hazard pay and $4,000 of elder care. Well, they got hazard pay in there by broadening the eligibility of the earned income tax credit and increasing the amount of money. Then they got up to $4,000 a year of elder care in there and up to $4,000 a year for young children's care. They got money for college students for grants to the university and also grants to the student, and also the Pell's grant made tax-free. They got MSCs in there, the CTC, but it won't be $51,000. I can now report for the first time on Afternoons LA. They have agreed to cut the CTC, so the CTC may likely run about 5 years, which will be about $15,000, about $300 every month, every year for up to 5 years, which is about $15,000 a child. They got money in there for home repairs, yes, directly to the individual if you live in a low-income community. And then they got money in there for big details of bikes, cars, and trucks. Electric, all U.S. auto manufactured, up to 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike. Then $7,500 for a new electric car, a little bit more if it's for business use. There we go. That's the first cluster checks. Now, as we go into each of these clusters and these add-ons, there's something to understand. We have 3 clusters of checks passed, and then we have 3 add-ons proposed. But what's very difficult is what the president's doing in the last 48 hours is a private play. You saw this first time last night on Evenings LA. The president, the progressives are not giving you a lot of details of what's staying in there, what's coming out, what's getting modified across the board. So I'm giving you the details as far as we now know. This is the latest breaking behind-the-scenes negotiations. A provision may still get removed even after the time of this recording or modified. Let's go to the first add-on proposed. The first add-on proposed on top of that first cluster is $25,000. Maxine Waters has proposed $25,000 of big money for that first home. Yes, if you want to go buy a first home, Maxine Waters wants a $25,000 add-on for first-time home buyers. How are they likely to do this? They would likely provide it to you during the escrow or to the seller in your name. This is incredible. Let's go to the second cluster of checks. And remember, these clusters of checks are for Americans in general, nothing pandemic related. And here we go. We got more home repairs, and then we got also money in for paid leave, paid family leave, paid medical leave. How much is it? $1,700 a paid family leave and paid medical leave if you make $70,000 or more per year. Split it in half. $800 a week if you make $35,000 a year. Split in half. $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. They got child care programs in there. They got household tax credits. They got money for seniors like dental and vision. More about that in the third cluster. They got pre-kindergarten, and they took out tuition-free community college. Yes, in this second cluster, you're going to see later in this video, they took out the tuition-free community college. So you'll never be able to take the class called What the World is LA Saying 101. It's coming out. Sorry. But they did keep in there money to weatherize your home. Definitely needed to weatherize your home, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. As I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House and keep them wherever possible, out of the Senate. There you go. Let's cut to the second add-on that's coming from Bob Casey. Bob Casey has proposed an add-on of $250 billion that would go on top of all this, and this is for my seniors and also for my people on disability. Bob Casey is proposing to give $250 billion to state and local so that they can offer free home health care to those individuals. How will this work? Well, a lot of you are having their children stay home from work because home health care is too expensive. You can't afford it. Now, Bob Casey's going to make it free for you. His proposal is to provide free home health care so that your son and daughter wouldn't have to stay home from work. They can go back in the workforce and make an income. And then also you'll have free home health care by a licensed professional. That is the second add-on. Now let's go to the third cluster of checks. And the third cluster of checks is deliciousness. And we got a world exclusive on this one, and we got one provision removed, and then we got 2 keywords I want you to listen for. So free school meals for all, checks in this third cluster. Cheaper prescription medication, checks. Checks for farmers, checks for clean energy. Listen to those 2 keywords. Checks for workers like independent contractors, and checks for seniors like dental, vision, and hearing care. All right, first let's go over the one item that's getting removed. One of the provisions in there, clean energy, has a lot of subsections, and it's getting removed. The president removed it last week, and it's still removed, and it's out. So that provision is gone, which is good for you because the money is reallocated elsewhere in the recon for the purple power energy. Next, world exclusive, Bob Casey's proposing to drop the Medicare eligibility age from 65 to 60. This is huge, and that is a world exclusive if you're only here on this channel. Also in this third cluster is free internet, which I totally like. So all you have to do is say what's the username and password. Username is LALATE evenings at 5 p.m. Password is don't miss it. There we go. And that brings us, of course, to the third add-on. And that third add-on, as you know, is that MSC, monthly stimulus check. And as we turn to that MSC, a lot of details about that happening across the board. Chuck Schumer, who's the number one legislator in the Senate, he's the majority leader, tells viewers this channel last week, going into the week before and the week before that he's inserting a monthly stimulus check provision on the Senate side. Now, how do they add things? How do they modify things? Let's go over all the details across the board. The negotiations that are unfolding over the next few days are negotiations to get something ready for a House vote. There's 2 opportunities. They can add stuff to the House bill before they put it to a House bill on the House floor. The $3.5 trillion recon that passed in a subcommittee isn't a subcommittee. It's not on the House floor yet. It's not a bill yet. Once we have a bill, perhaps they still don't have things in there. They can add things in there before they call a vote. Yesterday, one viewer reached out to Omar's office, and Omar's office told that viewer that her offices and Pelosi's office will be adding in a monthly stimulus check provision after the House bill is debuted, but before the vote. Good. We can do it on the House side. But they don't do it on the House side, they can do it on the Senate side. The 2-day vote-a-rama is the final 2 days of the entire process. During the 2-day vote-a-rama at the very end, the senators can look at what they got from the House. If there's something missing from the House, the senators can add it. That's Coons, Sanders, Casey, Warren, Wyden, and of course, Schumer. Schumer is in charge of the vote-a-rama, and that vote-a-rama spans 2 days. During that vote-a-rama, they propose changes to whatever they got from the Senate, from the House, and they can propose those changes to whatever is in there. Who wants to put a monthly stimulus check provision? Chuck Schumer's office indicates. Who is in charge of the 2-day vote-a-rama? Chuck Schumer. Who's in charge of what's called for a vote? Chuck Schumer. And who's in charge of the wardrobe selection during the vote-a-rama? Well, Mitch McConnell. You have to give him something to do. He just has to do something so long as he's not in charge of the entree. No one really likes lobster in November. Or October. It just doesn't, especially when you're voting. Yeah, just give me rice and chips. That's just a lot of carbs. There we go. That is the 2-day vote-a-rama. Now, the incredible last item across the board for that MSC, of course, is this. The number one legislator in the Senate, his chief of staff, tells viewers of this channel that you have delivered now 3 million calls of advocacy. But there's an important message in there for you and me. Let's go over what the message said. They now have in total between the congressional and senatorial offices received more contacts of advocacy from the purple power than the number of signatures in the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from LA viewers. Now they have a better understanding of how the average Americans are trying to make it through the pandemic. They now have heartbreaking stories from LA viewers, and they have the voice of the people across the nation in LALATE who has become too loud to be ignored. Wow, that's incredibly kind. And let's go into that last sentence together because it concerns me and it concerns you. The last sentence says, please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy, LALATE, as you are the professional voice of the people you have become, and continue until this becomes law. There you go. What a very kind message and important message for us. We have to advocate. I got to tell you, you're going to see in the second half of this video how the next 48 hours are critical. If there was ever a time to call 5 or 6 senators' offices, it's today. If there was ever a time to call 5 or 6 House members' offices, it's today. You need to advocate. advocate why I need that stimulus check, why I need these provisions, why I need these things. Because in the second half of this video, you're going to see what's coming out, what's getting reduced, what's being moved, and where the numbers are going. A lot of changes by the hour on the hour. I have all the inside information, and it's all coming up in the second half of this video, and boy, is it going to be a big second half. In that second half, we are going to be turning over and looking at what is going on with all the incredible details. We'll be looking at the new poll that says no one knows what's in the recon, and now Democrats are pushing to get stuff in there by the minute. Democrats are looking for a price of somewhere between 1.7 to 2 trillion. I'll go over the latest details as the price is right. Then climate and college is getting cut, but could other programs be cut? And what is coming out after that? A deal could be happening in the next 48 hours to 7 days. What does this mean for you? I have all the latest details. And then we'll be turning to student loan debts. We'll be turning to COLA. And then we'll be looking back at the first 1.5 year anniversary of this channel. It's a huge day, and we're just getting started. Join me as the second half of this video heats up. And we're just a second away. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. It's a big afternoon, and the excitement continues right now as a new report is struggling with the Democrats. 1 point LALATE, 0 points Democrats. A new poll says that Americans have no idea there's a recon, and that less than 10% can even identify what's even in the recon. The Democrats are not happy about this, and now they're trying to get the message out about what's in the recon. The price is right. The recon will somewhere drop to 1.7 to 2 trillion. I'll go over the latest details and how they're shortening durations of the programs, not necessarily removing programs to get to that price point. The programs are out. Climate and college have now been cut. I'll go over the latest details of what this means for you. Student loan debt forgiveness, more debt could be forgiven in the next few days. I have all the latest details on that. Then COLA is going up, but that's not your only raise. You're going to get 1 to 2 raises thereafter. We'll be looking back at the 1.5 year anniversary of this channel and what the first 140 million views have told us across the board. But we're going to start first with a deal that is happening. A deal could be reached with the recon in the next 48 hours to 24 hours. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, YouTube record. We got a big second half of this video. I told you it's a big show today. Like the video and consider becoming a member. Nowhere else you're going to see this inside information in an environment in which the president is really keeping things under wrap, keeping it very private by the hour and by the hour. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Coming up next is Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. We have a big new show tonight as well. Then Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock, and then shows at 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11:30. Let's turn to the big details coming across the board as the president comes to the negotiation table, and then things start moving. In the last 48 hours, things have dramatically sped up. I've been covering this for a while, you've been watching it for a while, and I don't think I've ever seen a movement like this ever. I think the entire universe of the negotiations has totally changed in the last 8 hours. Why? Because it really started on Monday when Joe Manchin started saying, this is what I don't like. And suddenly people started making changes. Let's go over the first part at issue, a deal. A deal is going to be reached. 100% guaranteed. The recon will be reached. The question is when. Jalopal, the president, Pelosi, even Joe Manchin now says a deal will be reached in the recon. The question is what day. This is what's going on. There's talks of getting all the provisions agreed upon in the next 48 hours, which is by Friday, and then getting it all voted by October 31st. But Jalopal, when asked about this in the last 24 hours, says, I don't want to give a deadline. We know how deadlines always come back to bite us. So when asked about this, Jalopal says, we're going to get both of them done, the recon and the roads and bridges. We're going to get both of them done. She said this after meeting with Joe Manchin for the very first time. Wonderful. She said the meeting was incredible. She said she loved meeting with him. She says it's a messy process negotiating. Democracy is not always easy. Negotiations is not always easy. The differences, everybody knows the differences. We have to get through those and get them together because at the end of the day, we have to deliver both bills, the infrastructure and the recon, aka the Build Back Better Act, to the president's table. She said it was a great time spent. She had a great time with Joe Manchin. Wonderful. That's great. Washington and West Virginia getting along wonderful. So there you go. Pelosi and Schumer are telling members that they think that the agreement should be reached by the end of this week and that they could vote by, the House could pass the recon by the end of next week. Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware, who's the first person who told this channel, told WR they concerned a monthly stimulus check provision, said, we're getting there. The gaps are closing very quickly. The vibe in our caucus is totally different. Folks are more clear-eyed about it. We've got to get this done. There's a lot of reasons why the next 10 days are critical. To chip shot this into December is really problematic. So he says a lot of things, which I have seen, very clear from the words. I've never seen the incredible progress that I've seen in the last 48 hours. It's absolutely lightning speed. Number two, I've never seen people really come out and just vocalize everything. This is what I want, this is what I want or don't want. Okay, move on numbers, move on this, move on that. This is not 2020. This is not Nancy and Donald sitting at the same number for 7 months. These are people literally changing by the minute, which is great. And then Senator Chris Coons saying something which I haven't covered on this channel, which is December is a horrible month. You don't want to leave this stuff to December because it's a very big month where there's too much to go on. And then John Tester, who's a Democrat from Montana, they don't mince their words in Montana, he talks about how everyone went on vacation before last week for 10 days. And he said going into a meeting, you know what, we haven't moved very far in the last 10 days. He came out of the meetings yesterday and he said, there's a lot going on. We're getting a lot of stuff going. I wasn't aware of it. We're getting to a point we can move it pretty well. Wonderful news. So what is my opinion of the situation? I think they're going to functionally agree upon the terms by Friday. I think they're going to agree upon the terms by Friday. There will not be a vote by Friday, but I think they're going to agree upon the terms by Friday, which would mean that they could get the vote by the following week. This is why, folks, your advocacy is very important. The next 48 hours, you need to be on those phones calling. You need to absolutely be flooding their offices with phone calls, advocating for why you need this money. LA told you, a new report is causing the Democrats big concern. You see why this channel has done so well in the since April of 2020. I think the first video I made about forced stimulus was April 3rd, 2021, and during that time, very few people have even talked about the recon, and people always said, "I haven't heard this on broadcast media. I haven't heard this on." Remember that the usual comment of negativity? It's actually a comment of positivity, because I'll tell you why. The Democrats now realize that they have done a horrible job telling the American people that they're even working on a recon, let alone there's a recon in the works, let alone what's in the recon. A new CBS poll says that less than 10% of the American people even know that a recon is in the works, let alone even can tell you what's in that recon. And that was a question proposed to Majority Whip Dick Durbin, Democrat out of Illinois. The reporter says, I want to ask you what you think about the CBS poll from last week. It said something like only 10% even know that there's a recon existing. Dick Durbin says, I don't doubt that one bit. And I think it's our fault, the Democrats' fault. We undersold it and we underperformed it for too long. Now we got a chance to close it the right way, hopefully. Democrats see this as a big problem. They didn't tell the American people they're even doing this, and no one really understood it. The price is right. So where is this recon going? Is it going to 2 trillion? Is it going to 1.7 trillion? Is it going to 1.9 trillion? Yesterday on this channel, I told you that the recon is likely going to 1.9 trillion. In the last few hours, we've heard every number from 1.7 to 2 to 1.9. Let me tell you where the numbers are likely going at the moment. First, the president has asked for something around 2. Second, the moderate Democrats have asked for something around 1.9 or lower. And then the moderate Democrats really would love something around 1.7. Here is what's important to understand, is that when we look at the recon that was past 3.5 trillion, you heard the exclusives on this channel over the last few months, that recon at 3.5 trillion were programs that were running 10 years. Over the last week, I told you just cut the programs into 5 years, then divide 3.5 into half, then you're at 1.7. Done. I said I was ecstatic yesterday when I first reported you the breaking news that the progressives like 1.9, and anything over 1.9 makes them a little bit squeezy, a little bit seasick. And I said, I love 1.9 because that's not 5 years programs. That's like 6-year programs, 7-year programs. So any of these numbers work. 1.7 works, 1.9 works, 2 works. 2 is actually higher than I think they can get it. So the president wants 2. Some moderates want 1.7. Where do I think it's going to land? I think it's going to land at 1.9. Bottom line for you, it doesn't make a difference. It really doesn't make a difference because a lot of these programs are going to be anywhere from 4 to 6 years. It doesn't really make a difference if the program is 4 to 6 years. 5 years, 4 years, 6 years doesn't really make a difference. So long as it's more than 3 years and so long as the program's in there. So what programs are coming out and which ones are getting reduced? Well, out is the free community college. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't make that joke anymore. What the world is LATE saying? Now you can take that community college class called LATE 101. Now you can't. Now you got to pay for it. And if you don't want to pay for it, then you'll never know what I'm talking about. Free community college is out. It's not going to make it in there. So that has been removed. Jalapal confirms it, that it's been removed. She says other higher learning items will be in there. Then also removed is a lot of the climate. The climate provisions are coming out dramatically. And guess what? That was my commentary over the last 2 days. Remove the climate provisions. If they're controversial, remove them. Just get them out because those were the deal breakers. We had 2 backup plans, which I showed you on this channel the last few days. One, carbon tax. Joe Manchin said, no, I'm not doing it. Out. And in fact, he was not the only one. They're having other Democrats saying, I think it was Tester. Yeah, it was Tester out of Montana. Said, I'm not doing carbon tax. Out. So that didn't work. And the clean energy from the third cluster, out. No one was going to do that either. That was very controversial as well. So they're really understanding how to remove climate and college education. What other college education may stay in there? I think the Pell's grant and the tax-free grants that I talked about will stay in there because I think that's what Jalapal's tipping off. So with items being removed, or any other items being removed, I really sourced this a lot, and I saw no other items yet being removed. I had no confirmation about the add-ons, and I had no other confirmation about the reductions. There is a very clear program that's got a lot of press since the very beginning of this, which is the CTC, of course. And the CTC, they're saying, is shortening the duration. Obviously, it's not going to run 18 years anymore. It's not going to run 10 years anymore. So what I've been telling you is much the same, which is the recon, their way they're getting this done is shrinking the durations. Originally, the president came in with a tall call order. He originally wanted programs to run 20 years. And at the time when I delivered the details on camera, I thought it was speculation because that's what I said of myself. But in fact, it was world exclusives. In July, I said the president had asked for a $7 trillion recon via Bernie Sanders. I said, I think it's 20-year programs. We now confirmed it's correct. It was 20-year programs. They said the moderate Democrats not doing $7 trillion, cut the duration, was what Bernie Sanders said he was doing, brought it to 3.5 trillion. But at the time I said, I don't know how long this duration is at 3.5 trillion. I think it's speculation of 10 years. Well, we got the confirmation from Jalapal as well, that we started the week at $3.5 trillion recon, 10 years. Just cut the duration. The great news you saw on this channel over the weekend, where I said to you, we had Jalapal myself and Pelosi all saying the same same one thing, which is shorten the duration of the programs. Let's give you an example. 3.5 trillion for 10-year programs. Cut them to 5-year programs. 3.5 divided in half is about 1.7. Great. We don't even have to go to 1.7 because the moderate Democrats are happy at 1.9. This is how you get it done. And ironically, what I had been saying yesterday in my commentary on the channel is opinion, not fact, was remove the controversial provisions about climate. We now have that actually happening. Are they watching this channel? It was just less than 3 days ago where Nancy and Alex Padilla said the real battleground is the climate. Let's talk about the Price is Right. The 1.9 to 1.7 to 2 is all just finding a commonality of a price. Representative Debbie Dingle out of Michigan says the president's being very decisive on it. I think he's going to get this done. Then Patty Murray, who's a Democrat from Washington, says there's a real consensus that it's time. We all see the timeline. There's a lot of struggle on what's going on in the bill, and that's literally half the size of what people envision. But we're working very hard to have both of those sides of those bills ready to be passed by the House of Representatives before the October 31st date, says Steny Hoyer. Now, if we make significant progress, that's also going to be a success towards the end. Wonderful details. Let's go back over the climate and college removed. Joe Manchin meeting with Jalapal earlier this week. And Joe Manchin said, no, I'm not doing carbon tax. I'm not doing green utilities either. And then the president telling the progressives yesterday, the child tax credit needs to be cut a lot, and the community college just needs to be removed. And Jalapal agreed. There will be something for higher education, but it won't be free community college. There you go. This is where we're going. We're moving very quickly across the board. It's an exciting time, and what's important for you to understand is that this recon still will pay you about $15,000 because that is with the programs running a shorter duration. But you need to advocate because we have a finish line in front of us, and the finish line could be 48 hours away. Now let's turn to student loan debt forgiveness. Boy, this could start a run. And the run would be the president doing exactly what he said and the moderate Democrats and the progressives accepting it. The president has signaled he'll do another round of student loan debt forgiveness in the next few days. I think the Democrats should take it. Let's go over all the latest details. The president initially forgave student loan debts of individuals who became disabled after graduation. Their debts were forgiven about a month ago. Then last week, the president forgave 2 more rounds of student loan debts. First, individuals who went to work in the nonprofit sector for 10 years after graduation. Incredible. Your debt's forgiven. Then the president forgave student loan debts of people who went to work in the public sector 10 years after graduation. This is for individuals who went to work for the city, the county, the state, the federal government 10 years after graduation. The president said, your debts are forgiven. One viewer found this out during the Maury's Countdown show. He said, LA, over the last 20 years after graduation, I've been a prison guard in the federal prisons. Do you remember my debts are forgiven? I said, yes, sir, they are. This is huge because a lot of people who are sanitation workers, public school teachers, who took that job right after graduation, didn't make a lot of money, don't make enough money to pay the tuition loan back, and now the president has forgiven their student loan debts. So there's one big group that's next, and this is where, again, my advocacy, or at least my opinion or commentary is coming into the video right now. Take the deal. Take the deal is my message. The progressives have pushed for $50,000 of student loan debt. The president, over the last year that I've covered him, has never agreed to $50,000. About a gazillion times he's been asked the question, about a gazillion times he said no. He's at $10,000. Take the deal. Structure in a way that if he wants to change his mind at a later date and wants to do more, he can do more. But take it at $10,000 and people can go into the holiday season with $10,000 of student loan debt forgiven. That's a big drop in their monthly expenditure. It's a huge deal. Take it. And there you go. But guess what? You got more to come, and that is COLA. COLA is going up 5 to 6% in the next few weeks. But that is not your only raise. This is huge. What's going on? COLA is being raised 5 to 6% for next year. COLA was announced by the Social Security Administration last week. And all your benefits are going up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security rural benefits. But that's not the only time it goes up, because fifth stimulus is just around the corner. Fifth stimulus would come right after fourth stimulus. And what do they propose on the fifth stimulus? Raise your benefits up 2 more times. Let's go over all the details. They're going to raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, and Veterans benefits again 1 time. This would be after this raise. Then they're going to apply a new benchmark. Their new benchmark will be applied at the end of next year. What will it be? Inflation. It will be replacing COLA. That inflation number is big because inflation next year is not going to be 10%. But COLA could be 0 next year. And you don't want that because that means you wouldn't get another lift up. But inflation, if it's 1, 2, or 3%, which many people are thinking for next fall, not this fall, but next fall, that would be huge because then you would get 3 lifts off. So let's go over the details. First, remember, once you get a lift up under your benefits, you never step down. You're currently going to check every month right now. That check, say goodbye to it because you're never going to see that check at that amount next year. Why? Because once you go up, you never go down. First, you're going to be raised up 1 big time. Then they're going to apply first you're going to be raised up on a COLA. Then you're going to go up a second time under fifth stimulus if it becomes law. Then you'll go up a third time when they apply the benchmark next year. They're also going to move the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. It's going to go away. They're going to remove the income cap dating back to a 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. It's going to go away. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to end. And love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. There you go. That is fifth stimulus. Meantime, if you have not become a member, what are you doing? The link is under the video. Members are delivered daily the LA newsletter, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, from me via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system, which is totally free to sign up for. It's in the description as well. The newsletter is important to read, and it's even more important to read. Why? Because we're right at the cusp of the finish line for fourth stimulus. Under third stimulus, when it became law earlier this year, I told viewers I can get you up to $15,000 under third stimulus. The average viewer, however, has gotten $40,000 from this channel. Why have they gotten so much more money? Because I've shown viewers that there's a lot of money in third stimulus to get. There's also money for the nonprofits to get. There's a new round of money coming out from Treasury that viewers are now getting, like Prina, who got $6,000 2 weeks ago, and Mark, who got $36,000 on top of his $51,000, bringing his grand total to $9,000. Viewers are constantly getting $80,000 and $90,000 from this channel. This is third stimulus, and the great news is the money is still being paid. So become a member today and get that newsletter. The newsletter will also show you how to get the big money under fourth stimulus as soon as it becomes law, because there's a lot of programs, a lot of checks in this incredible recon. And with that, let's now turn it to the LA 1.5-year anniversary, which is this weekend. We're running low on time, so I don't think I have time to go over third stimulus. Maybe I'll cover it later tonight. As we approach a 1.5-year anniversary of this channel this Sunday, this channel turns its 1.5-year anniversary old, and during that duration has achieved 140 million views. I want to look back at some of the details all this week that we saw and learned about ourselves and what it tells us going forward. One of the things that we learned over the last year is that things move quickly, and today was an example. Things move very quickly, and it's important to always stay on top of the game. Whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto, whether it's learning whether carbon tax or college education is being removed for recon. Things move quickly. And the most important thing that I've shown viewers is that knowledge is empowerment. When you have knowledge, you are much more powerful than someone who doesn't have the knowledge of it. You saw that CBS poll? 10% of Americans have no idea what's in the recon. Imagine that 90% of Americans, less than 10% of Americans know what's in the recon, and they can barely tell you what's in the recon. That means that 90% of Americans don't even know where recon exists and can't even tell you one item in the recon. You are less than a fraction of the American people. And that is why you are so much more powerful than 90% of the American population doesn't even know where recon exists, can't even tell you that the item is in there. Now let's understand how knowledge is transferred into money. When you know things, you can make money off of things. Imagine there's a recon, a fourth stimulus recon about to be passed that has the opportunity to give you about $15,000. And 90% of the American don't even know that money even exists, let alone the programs or what the programs are called. You do. You have the opportunity to get that money. That is the true spirit of knowledge. Knowledge is how people get money. There was a fascinating report that was out yesterday. I didn't read the whole story, but it was fascinating. That said nearly 80% of all U.S. stocks in this country are held by less than 1% of the population. It means that at some time early on, a lot of very, very smart people knew what to buy and how to buy it. Well, you're in a great position right now because you know what's in this recon. You know what's in the last recon better than anyone else. And that's why viewers have been able to get $80, $70, $40, $50,000. And people look at them and say, what? This is why people have often, over the last 6 months, jumped in the live chat and said, I haven't heard about this anywhere in broadcast media. Yeah, because they rather cover whether Chloe is wearing blush or purple blue today. You know, that draws their ratings. They rather not cover this for whatever financial reason. They don't want to cover the recon. It doesn't draw the viewer in. I cover the recon because I'm focused on getting you money. I'm not focused on your ratings. I'm focused on getting you the money. And ultimately, you should never gauge your knowledge based upon someone else's knowledge. No one should have ever really in the last 6 months say, how come no one else is talking about this? And I know about it, but no one else is talking about it. I don't know. I started the channel because no one knew about EIDL. I didn't know about EIDL, so someone told me about it. And that's why knowledge is important, because when you have knowledge, you can make money off of that knowledge. Knowledge breeds money, and lack of knowledge leaves people behind. That's why you're always one step ahead of the game when you're with this channel. And with that, I really appreciate your time and presence over the last year and a half. Let's turn right over to the third stimulus because we do have a little bit of time. So let me turn right to third stimulus. You can get some money for rent, utilities, food, internet, mortgage assistance, and more. There's 6 places you reach out to. Here are the 6 places. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. Your state hall, and your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage and utility assistance because of COVID. Utilities, I want you to reach out to all your utility companies. If you have 5, reach out to all 5. Next, Snap. Get Snap. I can't imagine how many people never heard of Snap until they found this channel. It's just like what I was talking about. Knowledge is king. Snap has always been around, but people never knew about it till they found this channel. Now they get one viewer like Mark's brother-in-law getting $26,000 annually because of this channel. I had viewers last month saying, I heard my benefits are going down. I said, your benefits are going up next month. Don't worry. That's, again, knowledge. Everyone's benefits are going up an average of 26%, 25% lifetime nationwide starting this month. Finally, the 5 nonprofits. The 5 nonprofits can help you with the items under third stimulus. If you have an eligibility problem, they can help you. They also provide furnaces, portable heaters, refrigerators, broken windows. They want to keep you warm during the winter months. They also have holiday meals. They're running out of holiday gifts. Here again are the 5 nonprofits featured in the newsletter. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. It's with that we got a big series of shows tonight. We have Evenings LA at 5 o'clock tonight. It is expected to be totally different than this show. It was yesterday. You can see how much information I'm delivering on camera in this show. I expect it to be fully changed by tonight as well. So join me on Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. Remember, the news cycle is changing very quickly. The next 48 hours are critical. Depending on what time zone you're watching the show at, make the phone calls of advocacy in the next 24 hours, 48 hours. Make as many phone calls as you can. I need the stimulus. This is why I need the stimulus. My family, my community, my church. Tell your story. Advocated Pelosi, Jalapal, Omar, and AOC on the House side. On the Senate side, Bernie, Chuck, Liz Warren, Chris Coons, Bob Casey, Ron Wyden. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Join me next as Evenings LA heats up at 5 o'clock. Don't miss Overnight's Crypto, and then we got shows at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, all the way to the new morning. 36 hours of programming on this channel daily, and I can't wait to see you. And stay with LA for more.